Okay, so hi, how are you all? My name's Saoirse Millard, and today I'm going to start a series, A1 Irish. So the purpose of this video is just to get the ball rolling. So there's not many, videos or anybody on YouTube really doing like an A1 like Irish course starting from like the very beginning. So I said, I might as well try, so I'm going to try. So here we see A1.1 Gaeilge lesson 1 on réamhrá agus an Foghraíocht. Réamhrá is just, introduction, and Foghraíocht is pronunciation. So before we go on, like, I just want to give like some backgrounds and, stuff like that. And then also, define the Foghraíocht, the how we pronounce the words before we go on talking about other topics and stuff. It's very essential you get the fumnu, so how you say words in Irish, and has its own special stuff, if you any bit aware, fadas and all that, okay? So yes, here we go. So first of all, I just want to make you aware of this thing called TEG, right? Tastis Europe na Gaeilge. So if you're interested, obviously this is not a course that is certified. I'm not going to give you a test. I'm not going to give you, a certificate or something like that. It's pure, free, accessible A1 course. That's the whole point of it. I don't want it to be something that is stressful or costs money, because if back in the day, if I could get an A1 course of any language, like when I was learning German for free on YouTube to access in my own time, I'd feel like amazing, so that I could do it on my own terms. But if you do want to go about getting a certificate in Irish, it is really important to look at this. You can pause it and read what it says. So it's about getting its actual, certified kind of certificate to say that yes, I can speak this, certain level of Irish, okay? As I said, A1 is the first level, like your very beginner's Irish, and it goes on, okay? At the end of this as well, these slides, there's loads of links to resources. I will actually link in the bio, so if you go into the bio, you can access this. I'm going to allow everyone to access this presentation for free. I'm not sure how it'll go about, every presentation, because, yeah, like the videos are free, but I don't know, I haven't thought about that. But I am going to put this up, a link to this, so it's public for everyone. If you go into the bio, and all the resources at the end of this will be there. Okay. So then, what do I mean by levels? So bound level, so the base level, like for beginners, complete beginners, is A1, and the recommended hours of study is 80 to 100 minutes. Bound level do, so A2 is the next step up, 160 to 200 minutes, and so on. Then you get to almost fluent, right? And why I said estimated hours of study is if you want to do that TEG exam, that's what they recommend. Okay. First of all, it's really interesting to start with, in any language you start with the alphabet. So the Irish alphabet today consists of, well, traditionally consists of 18 letters, as it says there. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, L, M, N, O, P, or S, T, U. Okay. Traditionally, there are no J, K, Q, V, W, X, or Y in the Irish alphabet. However, the new words that have come into Irish language from English and other languages now contain letters. For example, zoo in Irish is zoo. Okay. These letters are used primarily for loan words and names, and they're pronounced as they are in English, so that's helpful to start off. As you'll see, most letters are pronounced as they are in English, so great news there. Yes, so like if English is your first language, having an alphabet that follows that is brilliant. Now as you see, as we go on to this, it's, there's a lot of different pronunciations that we need to get used to, or well, you need to get used to. But however, Irish is its own language and is not a Germanic language like English. So, like, I also speak German. So, learning German, having English as my mother tongue, surprisingly, Irish is not my mother tongue, but I learned it, and here I am, and I'm a teacher of Irish, but it's not a Germanic language. So, there are different sounds and different combinations of letter that make different sounds, and that's what we're going to go through today. Okay. Now, what are the differences in pronunciation between Irish and English? Well, In Irish, there are combinations of letters that make different sounds. They can either differ across different dialects of Irish too. So we're going to see now in the next few slides, there's a few different distinct Irish dialects that I'm going to show you. But for example, BH is pronounced like V, so on van, meaning the woman, and MH is pronounced like V or V. So depending on the dialects spoken and the word itself. So mavaher, my mother, or as you see there in the kind of pronunciation, mo, va, her, or va, her. So yeah, there's two main things that are very, very different. And then there's this alphabet, like back in the day, if you want to research, like, I'm not going to give like the extensive history of Irish writing, but this is some of the old Irish writing. So as you can see, the letters look very different. If you do live in Ireland, if you see any like place names, there's like place names like, this is Patrick Street or whatever in Irish, and you see this old kind of weird writing, that's actually old Irish writing. So with the dot on top then is like BHCH, that adding that chevu. So that chevu is basically the, what's the word in English? Softening of the word. So it's not it's like softens the word. So f or sh or h, that softening of the word. Okay. And then as we go on, this is a map for Ireland. If you want to pause it and just take a look at it. So we have Munster, Leinster, Connacht, Ulster. There are 3 provinces, and then all the little kind of broken up parts. For example, I'm in Cork at the moment, so I'm from Cork. So that's 1 county then. So we have provinces which are like done up in Ulster, Connacht, Leinster, and Munster. But then you have counties like Cork, Kerry, Wicklow, Laois, so on. Okay. And then, as I said, there's 3 main dialects, in the Irish language. We have Munster Irish, or Connacht na Moon. We have Connacht Irish, Connacht na Connacht, and we have Ulster Irish, Connacht Ulla. Okay, and these are their kind of what's the word? See, try and think of English when you're like talking about Irish, and when you have German, it's kind of hard. But they're their kind of emblems. There's their badges. So if you ever watch rugby, like Munster have that. The 3 crowns and stuff. So Connaughty then is just accents. Connaughty is the word in Irish for accents. So let's look at the Munster Irish accents. Connacht na Moon. The Munster dialect is found in the Dingle Peninsula, which is in Kerry, also around Ballyvorney in West Cork, and in the Ring, County Waterford. Unique to the Munster Irish, often the stress falls in the second vowel in words with a short vowel in front, followed by a long vowel. This use of endings to show personal verbs also differ in other dialects as well as some other grammatical tendencies. So again, what is trying to emphasize here to you is that, like, wherever you learn Irish, you're learning from me. So I have the Connacht na Moon when I speak Irish, so you're learning a kind of Munster way of speaking Irish, but it does differ from different dialects, as you will see now in the next few slides. So down here in Cork, we would say kind of sawtu, or ansa, tame ansa, ansun, and we have veshkint, or neither fak, meowler. Okay, Fwack, we say Fwack, okay? And then you see there's up the north like Tada and stuff like that. So places where you will hear Munster Irish include Kirkagreena, Andangan, Duqueen, Muskerry, and Anrin, okay? They're your main places where you find Connacht na Moon, okay? Then if we go on to Connacht Irish, Connacht, again, this dialect is found in North Mayo, Connemara, Ilan Aran, so the Aran Islands, and although there's several linguistic variations within the Connacht Irish based on geography, Connemara Irish has become to be considered the standardized form taught. So yeah, so when people think of Irish, they think of the Connacht, Trademarks of Connacht Irish include lengthened vowels and reduced words, endings, and pronunciations, as well as verbal nouns ending as a chun. Connacht Irish includes the most native speakers, so that's interesting to note, as the form most often taught in West Ireland. Below are some examples. So as we said there, if we look back in the Munster, it's Conastatu, Unso, and so on. But then here's Cén Cui a Viltu, or Carvastis, like in Munster we say Carastis, but if they say Carvastis, Fati, we say Prati, down here in Munster. So potatoes, prátaí, and that's, you'd see that in, you know, if you were reading books, but like fatty is what they use, tóca or úder, and so on. So places where you'd hear Connacht Irish include An Spidale, Rossmuck, Ilan Oran, and so on. All of them mentioned there below. Then finally we have the Ulster Irish Connacht Ulla, right? The Ulster dialect is most commonly associated with West Donegal, Dúnmhainnill. This said, the dialect can be heard throughout Ulster, so to Munster and Connacht Irish in the respective provinces. Ulster Irish shares some similarities with Scottish Gael and Manx, a language spoken on the Isles of Man. Much like Scottish Gaels and Manx, Ulster Irish use negative particle chan. Munster Irish and Connacht dialects tend to use ni. Okay, examples. So again, it's given examples. So Conas is in Munster, and then Cain Queen of Iltu is, you know, Connemara Irish, and then here in Ulster we have Cadé Mar Tatu. So if you're in Ireland and you're looking at this and you're maybe a Leaving Cert student and you're going to Leaving Cert, here is the equivalent of the final exam for you at college. If you're listening to the listening, these are the three main accents used. So this is probably the most hated by students in Ireland, the Ulster Irish, because it's that strong, you know, Northern Ireland accent, you know. So it's like, I'm not going to do justice, but I'm going to try. So Cadé Mar Tatu and n-eirí and Gasta and Fosta and Mada and stuff like that. So it's very, very like hard, even sometimes for me, like as an Irish speaker, when I'm listening to Ulster Irish, I have to really, really listen. And then the places you can find it is, you know, Gwydover, Gutnacorkig, and so on. Okay, Donegal, all up the north, really. Then, what about Leinster? You know, we did mention there was, you know, those provinces that we mentioned there in the map. What about Leinster, where Dublin is and stuff? Well, interestingly, this is a bit of history now, right? So, interestingly, was once only two dialects in Ireland, northern dialects covering Ulster, Connacht, Meath, and North Leinster, and a southern dialect evident in Munster and South Leinster. This separation followed Ireland's ancient division into two halves, the northern half of Lethcune, and the southern half of Lehman, right? So similarities between Ulster and Connacht Irish are still noticeable today. It's worth noting that the Irish was spoken in the Leinster province into the 19th century. However, occupation by the English, so again, this idea of, you know, why we speak English today, because, you know, the English came and colonized, and if you're into history, go and do that. I'm actually, you know, history wasn't my favorite in school, but yeah, so anyway, so however, continued occupation by the English in and around Dublin essentially squelched the Irish language in those areas. So like the accent, it kind of became like a hot pot for the accents to be diluted, you know what I mean? Some of the characteristics of the Leinster dialect can be found in Connacht Irish, such as the stress of the first syllable. So due to Irish being taught in school, as well as increased availability of resources from non-native speakers, some scholars say a new form of Irish is emerging, so Urban Irish. As the language is always evolving, some believe that this learned from Irish will one day will be its own dialect. So right now it's not its own dialect, but maybe one day, right? Anyone looking at the map of the Gaeltachts in Ireland will notice a peculiarity. There's a small dot in the province of Leinster. This is the town of Rathcairn, where in 1935 Irish speakers were transplanted from Connemara as a social experiment in order to reclaim the authentic Irish culture there. Although originally met with scorn by the locals, the colonisation of Rathcairn was successful as people speak Irish as their first language there today. So that's just like some fun facts before we go into more of, again, this is the rave raw, like the kind of intro and, you know, prologue before we go into this A1 Irish course. So yeah, so now we're going to look at the sounds of Irish. So Fumnú na Gaeilge. So as I said, an fada is the fada, right? And what that means is when there's a little dash over the vowels, so A, E, I, O, and U can only have the fada, and when there's a dash over it, it changes how we say the word completely. So look at this sentence: De an bhó fair, right? So de an bhó fair, right? And then if you look at the other one, de an bhó far, right? So as you can see there, in the first one, de an bhó fair, we see the bhó, which is cow, bho fada, and then we see fair, which is fe fada ar. So the cow eats the grass. But if you forget that fada in fair, it's far, and far is actually a man. So it shows really the importance of using the fada, and that how the fada changes the complete meaning of a sentence, right? So where does the fada go? As I said, it only goes over our vowels. We have A, E, I, O, U, our vowels that we know from English. And then we have A fada, E fada, I fada, O fada, U fada. Okay, and then how I'm gonna say how they change. So we have A, we have O, we have E, we have A, we have I, we have E, we have O, we have O, and then we have oo, and we have oo. So it like elongates the vowel. Okay, so that's fada in Irish means long, so elongate vowels. Okay, so if we read these out, so tá, tú, sé, she, vo. So as you can see there, tá, tú, sé, she, vo. See the way it elongates it, right? So what about the vowel without a vada? So we can see there, tá lim sa chisten, de sé ov ine, tá a lá te, tá me imachoni Savalia, Tom Ban, right? So as we see there, the difference between ta up in the top there, ta, tu, she, she, bo, and then we have sa, of, te, I, mo, right? So it's not really, it's kind of stops in its tracks. We don't go ta, tu, she, where we can elongate it, okay? Rather than if it's without fada, sa. We don't say sa, because there's no fada, okay? Again, don't forget, the long vowel is A fada, U fada, E fada, I fada, O fada, and the short vowel is A, U, E, I, O. So tá, tú, sé, she, vo. So, of, te, I, mo. See the difference? Okay, so I'm gonna leave it here. This is part 1 of just the réamhrá and Foghraíocht, and I will continue in the next video going through some of the things you need to know before we head into the A1 course. I hope this was interesting so far and that you enjoy it. It's my first time doing anything like this by recording lessons and making it public, so please bear with me if it's not the top quality you expect at the moment. I'm still getting used to the technology of recording the screen and myself, and presenting it in a way that is accessible for all, so do bear with me. But yeah, so this has been the first part of the réamhrá and some Foghraíocht for us, which is the pronunciation, how we pronounce our words in Irish. And yeah, so I hope to see you in the next video. Okay, thank you.